Welcome back, true believers and all you gamers out there, to a rather interesting video which may be a bit different from the standard norm of uploads that you do usually see from me on this channel, because today we are going to be pretty much having a deep dive conversation that is fully off the cuff. So if I do stumble upon some of my words, I do apologize in advance, just kind of giving you my overall perspective of the current situation revolving around the upcoming E3 convention, of course being Electronic Entertainment Expo, which we have seen for various years in the past. We are obviously going to be getting an E3 in the next coming weeks during June, hopefully receiving a bunch of exciting announcements from various game developers and publishers, and this isn't necessarily to try and diss or bank on those developers creating either great or possibly lackluster games that they will potentially showcase at the convention, but just the convention itself, and as a gamer, if it is even necessary nowadays to keep E3 around. And if you are someone who is actually very excited for the festivities of E3 and are hyped to see what the game developers have in store, do me a solid and leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. It's been a while since I have actually done one of these off-the-cuff, pretty much non-edited types of videos. I just want to have a general conversation about what the overall meaning of E3 is going to entail for this year of 2021, what it has meant for gamers in the past, and where we could potentially see the convention going forward. So if any of that interests you, again, leaving a like would be fantastic, and I would thoroughly appreciate any support that you could potentially give it. But anyways, I just want to kind of give you guys my background for E3 as a fan. Growing up, I loved watching every single E3 convention through my TV, and when they were live streaming it, just through online, YouTube stuff, watching each convention, getting hyped for every single new announcement and game that could be revealed. Of course, my favorite one of which to this day still remains to be the Sony 2016 E3 press conference. I wasn't able to attend that conference in person because back then I didn't even start my whole YouTube career, but just seeing those incredible games be announced back to back to back with non-stop surprises, gameplay footage, the live orchestra that was there in the theater itself, and just Sony totally doubling down on their first-party exclusives and just grand gaming experiences. That is what E3 is about for me as a fan of gaming and as a gaming lover. Just grand, vast games to truly get you as an individual to dive deep into these incredibly immersive worlds. Whether or not that is for a superhero game like Spider-Man PS4 or something a bit more dark and gritty like Resident Evil, but stuff like that, seeing really exciting announcements that gets the community hyped beyond belief to see what is in store for gaming and its future is, in my opinion, what E3 is all about. And currently, in the previous years, I was able to actually attend E3 as a YouTuber and being able to, of course, interview these amazing developers from Insomniac and Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix about their upcoming Marvel projects, but also going there in the convention itself and exploring every single aspect of what the gaming industry had to offer at the time was phenomenal. But sadly, E3 2018 is where the convention started to kind of falter in comparison to previous years. The main factor of why that is mainly relates to one major company, of course being PlayStation, deciding to leave the entire E3 spectrum. Of course, as you know, Sony was pretty much only for the last time at E3 back in 2018, which, funny enough, is the first E3 that I went to. And then they decided to skip the festivities entirely during 2019 and opt for instead their own individual showcase, similar to that like a Nintendo Direct and other types of individual gaming developer showcases to just display their own titles in their own way without being restricted to what E3 is. And that is both a smart and kind of odd decision at the same time, because A, they do have their own free reign to decide to reveal things whenever they want, however they want, but B, it is taking away that main social community-related aspect that a lot of people associated with E3 in the past, of course before the entire situation that is revolving around the world with the pandemic occurred at all and people were still able to go in person to these massive conventions. conventions. But seeing that this massive divide did begin to occur back in 2019 is where I think gamers started to kind of look at E3 in a different way, and instead of seeing it as some big massive convention that shows nothing but games and everything that truly entices the fan base of the gaming community as a whole and unites them together to make them combined in a wonderful way and just be excited as a unit, again, to just be in love with whatever gaming experiences come out, we now have these broken up, divided individual conferences from different publishers and developers. Whether or not that is a good thing from them for a business perspective is mainly up for you to decide, but it does, again, take away that aspect of what made E3 so special. And now what we're currently seeing is that even with Sony, Microsoft, Bethesda, Square Enix, Nintendo, they're all doing, again, their own unique presentations during both E3, Summer Games Fest, as well as their own individual showcases. Even though it's not currently confirmed whether or not Sony will have a state of play during the E3 time period, it is most likely the case that we will see something from them on their own terms, which is where I do want to kind of highlight the recent showcase of Horizon Zero Dawn, where they did highlight it as a state of play, a full-on Sony PlayStation state of play, showing only one game for a total period of 20 to 30 to possibly 40 minutes, and just displaying new features about the game, a whole gameplay demo, which looked great, and it was awesome. It looked great. I'm not trying to diss Horizon or even Sony in any way, but in a sense is that doesn't really justify an entire showcase from them labeling it as a state of play. Same thing what we're most likely going to be seeing with Microsoft and the Bethesda showcase and whatever Square Enix has in store is that they are currently releasing stuff and information for new games and unannounced projects and games that we haven't even heard about for quite some time and revealing new footage for them before the events have even happened. So nowadays, especially again in the current environment of the world and shifting focus to things that are only happening online and through digital media, is that they are just doing things whenever they feel like it. If Insomniac really wanted to drop a brand new trailer for Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart with 10 extra minutes of gameplay, say tomorrow, they could easily do that and no one would blink an eye. No one is now restricted from the E3 format saying, well, no, we have to wait until June 11th to June 15th to release a gameplay demo for this game, because now developers are just doing whatever the hell they want. And in a way, I do appreciate them because they do have a lot more freedom in that regard, but it essentially makes the whole organizational aspect and whole community-wide spectrum of E3 and planning it amongst different publishers and developers a bit irrelevant if these developers and publishers are just deciding to do whatever they want on their own terms. So it doesn't really necessarily cause for any massive insight for people and just interest as a whole to get people back onto the E3 hype train. Instead, more people are looking at, oh, what is Microsoft going to reveal? What is Bethesda going to reveal? What is Square Enix going to reveal? Not what is E3 going to reveal. Do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily about the convention anymore as much as it is about the developers and the publishers that are attending the convention. So the convention itself is simply a means to an end where the developers do have a platform that does have a lot of notoriety from previous years to give them more of an audience for them to see what types of products they are going to be making down the line, whether that is a massive AAA title or something a bit smaller like an indie title. We don't know until we actually see it for ourselves. And in a way, it is very exciting because online, you still see a lot of people live streaming and watching it together in groups, getting excited for these announcements as a community, which is very, very wholesome. But it's, again, not necessarily focusing on the whole E3 side of things as much as it is mainly for the developers and their future and their overall current progress in making these games. Same thing with Summer Games Fest, hosted by our main man himself, Jeff Keighley, who is actually a very passionate individual within the games industry as a whole. He, if you don't know, hosts the Game Awards. I was about to say Summer Game Fest again. He hosts the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley as the main person behind that, organizing it, setting it up, revealing new games during that entire event, even though it's not necessarily him making the choices saying, oh, okay, Insomniac, you can reveal this game here, you know, Microsoft, you can include this game here during your showcase, Sony, you got 10 other projects to reveal by the end of the day. It's whether or not they actually want to participate in the event themselves, because instead of participating in Summer Games Fest or the Game Awards, they instead can make their own unique presentations. Again, Nintendo Direct, Sony State of Play, Square Enix Presents, stuff like this. A lot of interesting elements is shifting within the gaming spectrum to see exactly where presentational material can be manifested down the line, either for better or worse. We don't necessarily know exactly how it's going to turn up, say, 4 to 5 years down the line, and see if E3 is still even relevant by that time when it occurs. I, again, love E3. Being able to actually attend it in person in 2018 and 2019 are some of my fondest memories I'll ever have as a gamer. I really do want to see new and exciting games that will bring people together as a community through these great conventions and these experiences. But it's not, again, necessarily more so about the convention itself anymore nowadays, but what the developers and publishers have in store on their own terms. So, given that we are going to see different publishers, again, like Microsoft, like Bethesda, like Square Enix, attending gaming conventions, quote-unquote, like E3 and Summer Games Fest, even though they are, again, digital-only showcases, we will see whether or not it is even justified for that type of experience. By the time it's over, will the viewership from people watching these presentations online increase or decrease? Again, a lot of people do want to tune in because of the potential announcements that may occur, but are they there because they love the E3 event, or are they there because they want to see what a specific developer or publisher has in store? And for me, I do think it is the latter, which in turn, I believe personally means that, again, whether or not that is next year, a couple years down the line, an entire decade down the line, we don't necessarily know, but I do think it is at least at the safest bit to say that the organizational manner and in which E3 is formed is slowly dying. And I sadly hate to see that because I loved what E3 previously stood for, but I doubt that it will return to its former glory, which we have seen in past years. But again, those are all my thoughts that I currently have about E3. Me and my passion for it as a gamer and just as a lover of the gaming industry as a whole. Being a massive nerd myself, I want to see these gaming companies and even the gaming industry succeed, but if that means we have to kind of chop off the head of this multi-headed snake that is E3, cut off one of the E's, you know, now it's just the Electronic Expo, or the Entertainment Expo, not the Electronic Entertainment Expo. You catch my drift. I would just love to see where the future of the gaming industry can go in terms of creating and crafting and just utilizing events to formulate a plan in which developers and publishers can showcase their upcoming titles in a manner in which can fully, again, unite and bring together several different publishers, developers, and creators in general in one cohesive platform slash event. I would love to see something like that down the line. I have no idea if it will happen. Again, this was just me rambling, a little bit of a side topic. I am very interested to see exactly how E3 will pan out this year. I don't know if we'll see anything massive. I know you guys from my channel are wondering if we're going to see a Spider-Man 2 reveal. I don't think so. I think it's too early because we do know that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is coming out on June 11th. I don't think Insomniac would be crazy enough to reveal Spider-Man 2 directly after that game comes out during Summer Games Fest or, again, E3, but since PlayStation's not attending E3, I highly doubt it. But still, anything like that, we will just have to wait and see. But I do want to hope for the best for E3 as a whole. But until next time, everyone, thank you all so much for watching and listening and hearing me ramble. I probably won't do another video like this, but if you do enjoy it, again, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. And until next time, stay merry, Marvelites, and stay awesome, gamers. Peace out.